Welcome, everybody, to the Goat and the Ghost, or the Ghost and the Goat. Today is March 19th. I am your host, the Goat Bams. Before we get going too far, I'm going to bring on my co-host, my good friend and paranormal investigator, Buddy. Buddy, come on in.
I just appeared. I apparated in front of the screen, Brennan. We're both on together.
That's
fantastic. It's great. It's good. It's good stuff.
All right. Buddy 1, technology nothing today.
Yeah, right. Don't say anything, though. I don't want to curse it. I'm wearing my Boston Red Sox. We're known for curses. I don't want... don't talk about it. We're doing okay. We're on the air live.
You guys weren't as bad as the Cubs were, but I get
it. Right, true. Yeah.
I get it. So how you doing, buddy? March 19th.
It was a good weekend, dude. I went to the lovely city of Boston, the fatherland, if you will. I celebrated my Irish roots by attending a live Dropkick Murphy show. And before we bring on our guest, I'd like to show. I have a little clip from the show, and you might be able to see our guest on this clip. This is from Sunday night show. I watched this guy throughout the show. I watched this guy stage like crowd surfers would come through, and he would just grab him, scoop him up, and just run right off with them. Dude, it was epic. It was about as epic as being at the Dropkick Murphys on St. Patty's Day on in the lovely city of Boston.
Now they do that every year, right?
They do it every year. I think they did 4 shows this year. They usually do quite a bit right in Boston on St. Patty's Day. So it's always a good time. You're going in, tons of drunks on the subway. There's like 400 kids. Dude, there's like 400 kids on this subway train that were on singing Sweet Caroline, and none of them could go beyond the first verse. And then they go in the next song, or they go into Yankees Suck. And it's like, I couldn't see my girlfriend who was sitting like 6 people in front of me. It was just, it's an experience. We'll say that. Boston is always an experience on St. Patty's Day.
Boston puts on for the Dropkick Murphys. They always have.
Great time. It's great.
We don't have many bands, but the ones we do, we support loyally. Like the Mighty Boss Tones, the Dropkick Murphys.
I've seen them both. together.
Just timeless bands, especially around here. Like they're very big around here.
Right. Back in the day, I was that asshole who would jump over the stage, try and get up on the stage, drink beers with the band, and Matt would have kicked my ass. But anyway, I digress.
Anyway, while we're talking about Matt, let's bring him in a little bit. Buddy, you sent me some info on him. I'm just
you want to give him a quick intro, and then
I'm going to give him a quick intro here. So we have Matt Warner, who was born and raised in the Bridgewater Triangle, which we're going to dive more into this as our podcast continues on, because it is one of the most fascinating things about Massachusetts and paranormal in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
By far one of the coolest things around. So he's had paranormal experiences since he was a young kid. He's been investigating for over 20 years, which is impressive. The dedication to the craft, exactly what we're looking for here on our podcast. That's what we love. Big fan of horror movies ever since he was a young kid, just like both of us. That obviously led into him getting into the paranormal thing. I think that goes hand in hand. You get real curious about stuff you see in movies, and then you go, this could be a real thing. Let's dive into this. I think that's a really common thing, and it makes sense.
I could be murdered in a haunted house too. Yes.
Right. Exactly. That'd be an awful way to go.
Things to aspire to.
So he got into Unsolved Mysteries, Sightings, and then later on he got into the Ghost Hunters. He realized that there were avenues to explore in the paranormal field, like we were talking about. He's a skeptic, like both of us are, which I think makes, honestly, for the best paranormal investigators, because not every sound is, what was that? Oh, what was that? It's more of you're looking at it as a realistic approach.
Right.
I like that. I don't like people that just buy into everything, thinking every sound, every creak was a ghost or
Oh,
something.
the demon, the noise is like, no, dude, I farted. Oh, yeah. You get those people who believe everything's like The Exorcist. But go on.
Exactly. So as we're saying that he needs tangible evidence to support any claims of like haunting activity, which is exactly right up our alley here. He's got a passion for history and architecture, right up your alley and my alley. I love history, just as you do. You're an avid history buff too.
Avid.
This I know. He's drawn to abandoning and decrepit buildings, which is dope. That's something I've been into since I was a kid. That's always fun. He enjoys urban exploration and photography. We're going to dive into that with him too, because I'm really interested in that. In November of 2019, Warner Paranormal Explorers was born, and that's his company, I'm assuming.
That's one of his paranormal societies. I'm going to bring him on. His name is Matty Warner.
What's up,
Welcome,
guys?
Matt.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Buddy cut my intro off. He gets
sorry.
impatient. He gets impatient.
I have a long bio. I can't chop that friggin' thing down properly, so I get it.
It's all right. How you doing, man?
I'm good. You?
Good. Can't complain.
Great. One quick question before we start the show, dude. This was a debate amongst my girlfriend and myself. The guys who are crowd surfing, who you gracefully cradled in your arms and escorted them away from the danger. Were they allowed to stay in the show, or were they kicked out of the show?
No, they're allowed to go back into the crowd.
Oh, I was right. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, you don't get kicked out for crowd surfing.
No, that's one.
Funny, crowd surfing is actually illegal.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
It's actually illegal in the city of Boston, as is moshing. But you know,
I've moshed
I'm not policing that shit.
Yeah, how are you going to police that on in a Dropkick Murphys concert? You'd be arresting everybody. There'd be nobody left.
I love doing the crowd surf control. Anyways, it keeps me busy. It keeps me going, and it makes the show go by quick. And that's my kind of music. So I'm having the best time of my life, standing on the barricade, singing along, catching people. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
Being that close to them must be awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's like I do shows that I do different venues, and I'll be working the barricade, and I love asking people like, "Hey, how much did you pay for your ticket?" And like these shows at the Garden, like $1,200 for the floor. And I'm just like, "That's cool, man. I'm getting paid, and I'm closer than you'll ever get in your life." And I'm sober. I'm not spending money on booze. I'm going to remember the entire experience. You guys are suckers.
Yeah.
So how many Dropkick? Is that your first Dropkick, or have you done that a few times?
I worked the St. Patty's Day show last year. I had just started last year. I worked all 4 this year.
4. They did 4 on St. Patrick's Day.
No, they did 4 nights in a row.
Oh, 4 nights in a row.
Yeah.
I think that's just as bad.
It was taxing. But it was interesting because I wound up worked the Thursday night show at House of Blues, and it was kind of lame. I didn't have many people on my side. I wound up catching one person that night. And then Friday night, I got my ass kicked. I caught over 40 some odd people.
Wow.
Saturday night, same thing, lame. I caught one person. And then Sunday night, I caught like 30 some odd people. And it was like a good balance. But the problem was, like, it's never the people you want crowd surfing. It's not the nice little tiny women.
Right.
On Sunday, it started off with nice, light women that smell good. And I was like, all right, cool. This is my cup of tea. You know, and it was coming. There was this one dude like 7 rows back that he kept lifting these women up. So the first 4 people come over, they're all mine. I'm like, that is great. And I always tell ladies, I'm like, oh, thank you for being so light. You know, they like that shit. And you send them on their way. And then the dude that was sending them up, he comes over. Now this guy's like 6'2", 250. He's got big dumbass work boots on, like just starfishing through the crowd, not trying to help. And I'm like, oh my God. So like I get the guy, and I said to him, I say, hey man, keep sending the ladies. They're much easier. And he's like, I'm trying, brother. I'm trying. I said, all right. But by the end of the night, the people, especially on St. Patty's Day, these people were so drunk, man. They were coming over like a sack of wet laundry, like just big, stank, sweaty ass dudes coming over the top. And it's part of the job. I mean, it's funny.
How would you handle somebody like Buddy crowd surfing if Buddy was coming around there?
Oh, I would never.
I'd look at my friends and be pissed off that he was coming my way, but I get him. I get it.
You think you can cradle Buddy?
In that position, I could, not from a ground point, but I could if he was coming over the top of people. We got some techniques. I don't know the heaviest dude I've got, but I know I've gotten some like 300-pound people before.
Nice.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
buddies are fun.
balls being that big, getting on a crowd surf, because I'm a big boy and I've been a big boy most of my life, and I've gotten in plenty of mosh pits.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big crowd surfer, because the whole fear of falling, because I'm a fatty and people don't want to
Why?
hold my fat ass up. It's that whole thing.
I don't understand as a man why you would want to do that. It makes
Right,
no
and then
sense.
you
to
get
me.
someone's hand up your ass, or someone handing you.
Oh, no, all right.
Oh no,
All
thank
right.
you.
So, as somebody who has crowd surf,
Okay.
it gets out of hand. Okay, it starts as a suggestion. You know what I mean? Somebody's like, "You should do it," and then you're like, "No, that's stupid. That's stupid." And then it gets in your thought, like, that kind of seems like fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get up there, and it is cool to just like be weightless. You know what I mean? Like just a bunch of people pushing you, but there are people that take shots at you. You know what I mean? You get you get the occasional punch to the asshole. You get some fun. Like you get a couple fingers that were unwarranted. You know, and that's where it gets. That's where it's like, all right, I did it. I'm not doing it anymore. You know what I mean?
I just don't trust people to not drop me on my head. The last thing I want to do is become a paraplegic because I decided to crowd surf.
So the big thing with crowd surfing, I would never stage dive because I'd be afraid that people weren't going to catch me. But the crowd surfing thing, once you're up there, people don't want to not put their hands on you because they're afraid you're going to fall.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people fall.
Oh man! Oh yeah,
a lot.
Well, doing security at the shows, I can only imagine. You probably see a lot of that.
Yeah, the problem is that some of these people are so drunk that they don't know what they're doing up there, and a lot of times these people will get thrown up like the 10-finger, catapult, and the people aren't ready for them, and they just go up and they come right back down. We had one dude. He came over. It was Friday. It was Friday. It was during chaos night, and I was up on the barricade catching someone, and someone else was catching someone. And this dude got thrown up just like that. He came over like Flipper, like a goddamn torpedo, up and over, and just right down on the barricade side, just like on his upper body. And we're like, "Bro, you all right?" Like, he's like, "Yeah, I'm okay." I'm like, "All right, like, learn your lesson." But like, that's the kind of crap we don't drop people. And I mean, we didn't even see this gentleman come over. He came over too fast because he just got thrown. And like, that's how you learn your lesson, not to crowd surf.
Right.
Oh, that would suck. The only thing I've seen anything close to that is that you guys have been to the Worcester Palladium.
Oh yeah,
I've seen somebody try to jump off like the stairway on the side, like halfway up. They tried to jump and nobody caught them.
Oh,
yeah.
Just out in the ambulance. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's a quick way to end your night. Like,
yeah. That
not
is
what I paid for. But anyway, let's get into it. So you were born near the Bridgewater. I almost said Bermuda Triangle. The Bridgewater Triangle.
Yes, yeah, in the just the tip actually in Abington.
Just the tip. You don't say.
You'll get into when you ask me to be on this show, buddy.
I should have known better.
That's a little game I like to play with the ladies called Just the Tip, just for a second. Have you ever investigated the Bridgewater Triangle?
Yeah, so I've investigated out in the Hockomock Swamp, which is an expansive area. There's a ton of different places. I've investigated there. I've investigated out in Freetown Forest. Some of the other locations that are considered to be within the triangle. Like when it was named the Bridgewater Triangle back in the 70s, it was 200 square miles. The lines have kind of blurred over time because things are close enough to what we consider a part of the triangle and whatnot. But it's just a ton of activity that I honestly think a lot of it is I bet a Fago, sticky, sweaty, gross mess. I actually saw ICP out in Worcester at the Centrum when it used to be called that. Yeah. But yeah, so I've investigated a lot of places locally.
Nice.
I think that they use the Bridgewater Triangle label. A lot of people do anyways as a catch-all to just, it's just because we're in the triangle. It's like, no, it could be anything. But that's the skeptic in me.
Now, have you had any like big hits when you investigated those areas, or?
Well, I mean, some of the scariest things that have ever happened to me happened in this local area, so I can say yeah.
Like what?
Well, the experience that got me really into this stuff. So before the internet, we used to have to read books and watch TV shows and stuff to learn. It's incredible. We didn't have computers in our phones in our pocket. So I had this book, and I don't know if it was Weird Massachusetts or Weird New England, but it was one of those books.
I remember those.
And it was all local legends and things like that. And there was just a small little write-up in there about a road that was just about 20 minutes from my house. I won't tell the town or anything like that just because people are freaking weird. But it's not technically in the triangle, but same damn thing. It's close enough. So this road had all these reports of different activities, people seeing, phantom hitchhiker, Thunderbirds, not Bigfoot, but like big Native American totems and things like that.
Yep.
And the road itself cuts through a really affluent neighborhood. So the first part of this road is really ritzy houses. And then the second half, it's like a lane and a half wide, roughly paved, and it cuts through conservation land, which was reservation at some point, I believe. But it's all conservation. So it's just a cut through to get to another major road. So what we used to do as teenagers, because we had nothing better to do, is we would go down there and drive up and down this road 100 friggin' times. We'd walk up and down this road. And I would say I went up and down that thing 100 times. John, what's up, buddy? All the way up in Maine, guy. I'd probably gone up and down this thing 100 times. Nothing ever happened. This one night I went, and it was a January night. It was really warm out, no precipitation or anything like that. And I picked up a buddy of mine after I got out of work. And he didn't like any of this ghost stuff. He was, kind of a chicken shit. And I always played off of that because I enjoyed teasing my friends like everybody does. So I said, we were just driving down there. And I said to him, what we're going to do? I think I'm going to stop right in the middle of this road and just turn the lights off. I'll keep my foot on the brake. He's like, dude, don't do that. Don't do that. I was like, yeah, okay. No, I'm going to do this to him. Absolutely. So we roll down the road. Now the part that's just through the woods is probably, I don't know, 3/4 of a mile long, maybe a mile. So we drove through pretty slow and quiet. There's tons, Keith. Quick Google will send you down a rabbit hole. You'll have all the time in the world to read on.
Oh yeah.
Keith
so
Wallace,
we drove through.
How can you be from the triangle and not know that? I'm sorry. Go on. I know the guy.
So we got the windows down because it's pretty warm out for a January night, and roll through. We go to the end, turn around. We're coming back, and I'm getting about the halfway point in the wooded part of the road, and I'm slowing down. He's like, dude, don't do this. I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it, right? So I stop. I put my foot on the brake. I turn my lights off. The second I turn my lights off, directly in front of my truck, I see hands on my hood, white all the way up to the shoulders. I never saw the head because I freaked out. I flipped the lights on, and I floored it. And the truck wouldn't move. The wheels were just spinning. And it was like it was being held there by whatever this thing was. And all of a sudden the truck released, but it didn't go forward. It went sideways as if it was just shoved off to the side. And now I'm going 60 miles an hour. And the truck is going like this up and down the road. And I'm fighting the wheel. I can't get control of it. My buddy is screaming at me, don't do this to me. Stop this. I was like, dude, I can't control. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. And just before we were about to hit this massive tree on the side of the road, I was able to get the control of the truck, and we went through this neighborhood at easily 60 miles an hour to get the hell out of there. And I kept driving. We came out to the main road. I drove down the main road a while. I pulled over, and I was like, what was that? What did you see? And he goes, I saw a woman in white holding the front end of your truck. And that's exactly what I saw. And I got on the phone. I had a cell phone back then. I called my mom because my mom was into all that stuff too. So she used to ride up and down that road too. I was like, you're not gonna believe what just happened. And I was like terrified. Like I was like, all right, this is some real deal shit. Like this is definitely some Unsolved Mysteries thing. And I didn't go back down that road for 10 years. I was done. I was like, I'm good, man. I can't be doing this stuff.
Right.
And I've been down a few times since. Nothing's happened, obviously, because that's a once in a lifetime thing to occur. But it changed my perspective. And I said, okay, there really is stuff out here to further investigate. And now I want to do more of it. And
For sure.
I started reading more and getting into it more and kind of just, not researching like we all do today now that we have adult money and we can buy real equipment. But like as a kid, you just do what you can. You walk around with, the disposable Kodak cameras and things like that and do whatever you can. So,
and some of those are the best. Some of those are the best pieces of equipment ever too. The very basic tools.
Absolutely.
What do you do with a Kodak camera? The disposable ones. Exactly. What do you do with that?
Oh, you just use those to take pictures because that's how old school it was back then. They didn't even have digital cameras back then.
It was like you're just hoping that like a spirit pops up in the picture when you develop them.
Yeah, just like now, like you'll hear like take 3 pictures in succession. We used to do the same thing with the throwaway cameras. Just take 3 quick pictures and then just develop them and see what happens.
Oh, see, that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that.
I got a question. Now I'm not trying to be the skeptic at all. I completely believe in ghosts and everything, but why is it always a woman in white? Do they just appear that way? Is that how they want us to see them? I've heard countless stories about a woman in white in different scenarios.
It fits every local legend and lore perfectly. As I only saw hands and arms up to shoulders. I never saw a head. I never saw like if it was a dress or anything.
Right.
Could have been white because spirits are supposedly white. I don't know.
Right.
The second time I saw a full-bodied apparition was also all white, but it was a dude.
Now, where was that?
So that was at one of the locations I run here in Rockland, Mass, Hartsuff Hall. This night was crazy too because I was at the hall with 2 of my friends, 2 of the explorers on the team. So Warner Paranormal Explorers is myself, my daughter, and my 2 friends. We just go out and explore and have fun, goof around and enjoy it. So we were at the hall, the 3 of us, and Courtney didn't know this, but Justin was filming us. I was trying to scare her to get funny B-roll footage just to have. So we're up in the attic of the building, which is the most active spot in the building. It's my favorite place. And I was goofing off. I was doing a bunch of Bagans type crap. And I was like, if you're here, you don't have to stay. All this bullshit. And I have some abilities that I'm not tapped into. Most of the times I kind of just blow them off and ignore them. But I can sense and see energy and things like that. So as I'm saying this, I see about a gold ball of energy, which is one of the things that happens when I see things. And it went across the floor. And it was like the size of a soccer ball, small soccer ball. And I was like, holy shit. I was like, okay, so if you are here, that's cool. You know, I went around the corner a little bit and I said, if you are here, you don't have to stay. You know, you can leave. As soon as I said that, there's these little storage rooms up in this attic, standing right next to the storage room, about 6 feet tall, super skinny, gaunt, about shoulder length hair, all white, but not see-through white, but not full blast white. There's a dude standing there looking at me. And I looked at him, and then he was gone. And I puckered up really tight, and I got very scared.
Yes.
And I kind of jumped back, and they're like, what the hell happened? And I told them, I said, I'm good tonight. I want to go home. I won't be here anymore. And Courtney said, let's get the fuck out of here. You know, like that's enough is enough. So we left, and I was like, damn, dude, like that's a lot, because that was 20 years between seeing the first one and this one. Probably longer than 20 years, honestly.
Right.
Because I think it was like 19 at the time. So yeah, about 22 years between seeing my first and second full-bodied apparition. It's not a normal thing. So those people are always like, I see ghosts all the time. Like, you either really tuned in or you're full of garbage.
Exactly. I went probably 12 years myself, and then it happened a few times and since then, but it doesn't happen all the time. People ask me all the time, what's the difference between somebody who's experiencing stuff and who has like mental illness? Like, well, if you have mental illness, it's going to happen all the time, and it's going to be accompanied by other symptoms. Yeah. Where if you're gifted or you're seeing something paranormal, this could be a symptom that happens once every 10 years. It could be a symptom that happens every day. It could be, it's unmeasurable in that sense, and that's the difference.
All of us in the paranormal have some sort of mental disorder, anyways. So
absolutely,
it makes sense. But so the interesting thing about that is, I went back a week later to the hall. We had an event there, and I was up in the attic again doing a live TikTok investigation. And I was talking, and I said, I saw you last week. You can come out again. No worries. And this person that was watching on TikTok, I don't know who she was, one of those, self-proclaimed psychic people. And she goes, I'm picking up the name Sean. And I'm like, all right, well, it's not a cool old name like I would expect it to be. Like, I want like Ichabod or some shit, something cool. And she goes, he doesn't want to scare you like he did last week. Now, this was a story I hadn't told, so she didn't know this. I didn't post about this. And I'm like, nice. Okay. I said, well, fun fact, Sean, I get scared at my own shadow. I said, so it wasn't your fault. I didn't expect to see you, but you're more than welcome to come out. And she goes, he's just really cautious. He doesn't want to scare you. And I said, okay. So we interact with him up there all the time. He hides behind that little area. Dozens of people have seen him in shadow form. He interacts with motion devices and things like that, REM pods, the cat balls. And it's just, it's really pretty unique situation up there with him.
That's so the Hartsuff Hall. That was the Civil War GAR post, right? That's a Civil War veterans post, right?
Yes. So it was built as the Grand Army of the Republic Hall in 1899 as a Civil War as a meeting hall for Civil War veterans and their families, and it was run by the Grand Army of the Republic until the mid 50s when the last remaining survivor of the Civil War passed away.
Nice.
And since then, it's been under control by the Sons of the Veterans Union Civil War.
Nice. That's awesome.
And the Hartsuff Memorial Association runs the building now. The majority of those guys are Civil War reenactors as well as Sons of the Union.
Yep.
I'm a member of the association. I don't do any of that stuff. I just do the ghosty things. But
of course,
that's our home base. That's where we do many of our events, and we pump the money back in for historical preservation of the building.
So let me ask you, I'm sorry.
Yeah, hold on one second. I don't want to get too far from it.
Yeah.
So you said that you see and feel energy. What is that like? What does that look like? What happens? Like, can you give us like a little background on that?
So I'm an empathic person, which means I'm kind of like a sponge for energy. So if I walk, this is why most people avoid funerals and wakes anyways. They're very difficult for me to go to because I'll walk in and absorb everybody's sadness, and I leave there like a sopping wet bag of trash, and I don't like that. So fun fact, working at the concerts, it's like a supercharger battery for me. I leave so jacked up off of everybody's good vibes and energy, it carries me for days. But in terms of like, I can walk into a room and feel the energy. It's kind of like being a human barometer. I can feel, a lot of people think, oh, there's a cold spot. I can just feel heaviness in the air if there's something bad that had happened in the room. And it's not all the time. It's when I tune in and, shut out all the outside noise, but that's kind of how it is. And when I see energy, it's usually gold balls. I don't know what it is, softball, soccer ball sized balls of energy.
That's funny that you say that because the guy who was I guess on last week's show, he's a member of my investigative team, Joe Britland. He has reported that he always says he's not special. He's just that guy. He's very grounded. He's reported a few feelings in a few different areas, but he never ever he had heard his name called and stuff, and slowly over the years he's had these experiences. But that's one of the things he always reported. Probably like 4 or 5 different investigations. He's always seen a ball of light in like the area of the room that we're in. Whether or not we get EVPs or not, that's neither here nor there. But he has often seen a ball of light, and I just thought he was maybe I couldn't attribute it to any kind of reflection coming from the outside or any equipment that we were using. I just thought maybe he's just like, I thought I didn't believe him, but I was just trying to like look for. I could never find like a reason to justify it as something else. Now you're talking about it. It's like I think Joe's a little bit more special than he thinks. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Like, how did you figure out and like start to tap? Like, what's the process of like tapping into that side?
So what wound up happening to me is a friend of mine reached out. Now she lives down in Georgia. She's one of my best friends, and this was a few years back. She reached out and she goes, "Hey, and she's a very sensitive person. I can tell you got a lot going on." I'm like, "Yeah, life's a dumpster fire. It's just a matter of how much water you can throw on the thing every day." And she's like, "Well, I want to do some Reiki on you." And I didn't at the time. I'm like, I did whatever. Like, okay. Like she's like, I was like, how's it work? And she's like, "Well, I'll send it over to you." And I'm just like, "Okay, sure you will. I'll sign for it when it gets here." But I put the faith in it. I said, "You know what? She believes in this. She wants to help me, so I'm going to accept this." And I remember she's like, "All right, I'm going to work on it tonight with you. And what I want you to do is when I start doing it, I'm going to text you. I just want you to focus." And I'm like, "Okay." And I swear to Christ, man, I'm sitting there and she's telling me she's doing this stuff. I can feel like this weight coming off of me. And I'm like, what is going on? And I used to be like this, like hard-nosed, angry person all the time. And it was like a light switch, and all of a sudden I'm this positive, happy person, and I haven't changed since then. And people were weirded out by it at first because the people that knew me for so long are like, "The hell's the matter with you?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know." But she warned me. She said, "Because of this, I lift all this negativity off you. You're gonna your senses are gonna open up. You're gonna start seeing things." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure I am," and I did. And I had my first psychic experience not long after she did all that up at Wilson Castle, and I've since kind of reeled it in a little bit because I don't really want all that stuff at all times. I kind of just like, yeah, no, I'm cool. Like I believe, I know things around me. I don't need to see them at all times because I live in the real world. But yeah, it was Reiki, and it's something that I'm really interested in furthering and actually learning for myself because I'm a big believer in it.
For sure. My own experiences, I noticed after I did a Reiki session in 2015, and then I took martial arts in the 2000. Well, when I was a kid, then again in the 2000s, we did Qigon, I think it's pronounced. And it's like just energy and just feeling energy and just like being able to control it within your own body. The Asian cultures do a lot of this, and I think realizing this and starting to do this and Reiki, it honestly, after that, I started having more and more experiences. Whereas a kid, I was just like sensing stuff, and then I was like seeing stuff and experiencing stuff. And
Yeah,
I think I think energy has a complete part to play in all this.
I had an experience recently that was it wasn't even something that was supposed to happen. I was laying there, just in bed, hugging on somebody, and I could just feel like a sadness. And I said, so what's wrong? Are you sad or something? She said, no, I'm fine. I said, no, you're not. I could feel it coming off of her. So what I did, and I don't know what I was thinking. I just did this. I started taking like deep breaths and like building up like happiness in my chest, for lack of a better term. And I could feel myself like filling up with this. It was a heart chakra thing, which I've since talked to a friend that does this stuff. And I like Care Bear stared that shit through her back. And I could feel it leave me. And I'm like, I'm like a fucking superhero. Like, this is so weird to me. And because I don't know what I'm doing. Like most people, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I felt it. I made it work. And she recognized it. And I was like, well, that's awesome. Because I'm now going to become a Reiki person. Because this is some good shit. But it was unexpected. And that's when it catches you, when you're not trying and all that. And it just kind of happens. That's when you have to believe. You can't ignore these things.
Right.
Yeah. I had a very similar eye-opening experience with Reiki about 1.5 years ago. It was, I've never, didn't believe in it. And then when it was being done to me, like you said, it felt like so much weight was just lifted. And like just the energy in my soul felt a lot more pure and a lot more happy than I had in years. You know what I mean? So I'm a big believer in energy and like people transferring energy and stuff like that. So that's why I asked like for you to go in more detail, because that kind of stuff like really intrigues me. I think it's got a big part to play in this. And, like,
Absolutely,
too.
Absolutely. My aunt was a Reiki master before she moved. Well, she moved down south. She gave me a Reiki session. Honestly, I was skeptical, as I am with a lot of this stuff. This is back in like 2016, and one of her students did it with me, and I laid on that table, and she did the Reiki. She told me to go to a place in my mind, and I went to like a calm, soothing place. Obviously, my mind started now. All right, so this is like 2016. My grandfather passed away in 1992. I was just before I was 13 years old. I'm 40. I was like in my late 30s at the time. I in my mind, I go back to the swimming pool that was in their backyard that he used to swim in all the time, and he's swimming beside me, and he's talking to me, and I'm hearing his voice, and I can still hear his voice. But I had long forgotten this man's voice, for so many years, because they had been dead for so many years, and then it like I had that Reiki experience, and not only did my paranormal experiences like really become more clear, but like I heard my grandfather's voice and I could remember it. It's just it just blew my mind. That alone, beyond all the paranormal shit, that alone always just stuck with me in the last few years. So I think there's definitely something to be said about energy work and Reiki and whatever else there is. That's cool.
100%. Did you have another question, buddy, before I cut you off to ask that?
We were talking about Hartsuff Hall and all the stuff that goes on there, and you do all the ghosty stuff there. Do you guys like rent it out to paranormal teams? Is that a thing?
We absolutely do. Yeah, that's one of the main things that we do is private rentals, and we are very affordable, folks.
What are your rates? If you don't mind me asking? For
so 5 hours, $400 up to 8 people. So basically, it's like $50 a head.
Yeah, that's cool. All right,
because some people like coming with less people, so it kind of balances out.
Absolutely, a crowd is never like that. Public investigation is great if you like 25 and want to get into this, or if you like, if you're a kid and want to, it's great. But I mean, investigative value, there's like zero because you can't control anything. There's people like
No.
everywhere making all kinds of like people like
that's a big reason we've
run,
shied away
you know?
from doing them. We used to run them, and I'm like, I hate these things, man. As an investigator, I freaking hate these things.
The public is,
but like
is
you said, it's a great stepping stone for people that want to learn or want to try out other equipment before they buy equipment. That's great.
Right.
But if
paranormal
you're even
paranormal teams to come in. We had pro nights at the jail, and I had
yeah.
people coming in from
dude,
New
I
Jersey.
love that place. Oh, love that place.
It was interesting, and we raised a lot of good money for historical building and historical organization. We did it with Varnum too. We did a few public investigations there. It was good. It felt good to do it, but then after we were done, it's like I don't want to get with these people again. No offense to some of the people I did with were great.
We were there Friday the 13th, right when COVID kicked off.
Right, and you were like licking the doorknob. And you were taking yes.
That's that picture haunts me every year. People are like, you brought this here. I'm like, no, I didn't.
No, it was great. Yeah, it was classic.
It was funny. It was a weekend of COVID. We're like, this is a joke. 2 years later.
Yeah, that got out of hand. 2 weeks turned into 2 years. But so you had said you had your first like psychic experience, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, what exactly happened? Like,
so I was up at Wilson Castle in Proctor, Vermont, which is it's one of my favorite places. Absolute
gorgeous.
Denise and Andy, they keep that place. It's just awesome. I can't say enough good things about it. Check out Wilson Castle. Warner Paranormal is doing their 5th annual bash at the castle, October 26th. If y'all want to go, tickets aren't on sale yet, but now you know. I was up there. This was my first weekend spent up there. I was filming a documentary with a team out of Ohio. They asked me to come up and be a part of it. And I was sitting in what they call the music room, which has got all these fancy artifacts in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there on this couch and I'm trying to communicate. And I feel the spirit of like a what I gather to be a little boy. And I could feel his energy. And we're sitting there, we got some REM pods and things like that. And he's interacting with our devices.
Now, how did you narrow it down to be like an adolescent boy? Was it just a feeling?
I'll get to that. It was a vibe that I was catching, but I'll get to why I know that. Well, I can't say I know because obviously it's still paranormal and it's still hearsay. But for what I know, and don't need to prove to anybody, it was a little boy.
Okay.
But I was sitting on the couch and I could feel the energy was kind of like a scared energy. So what I did was, and this is when I first started doing this, I started saying, I'm gonna make some energy for you. And what I do on investigations is kind of create friction and kind of push my energy out and just kind of offer my energy up to the spirits and say, just leave some. Huh?
I like that. That's cool.
Okay, you froze a second. I was like, all right, I'll wait.
No.
But so I was cooking up energy, and then I said, if you're uncomfortable, you can trust me. I'm a good person. We're all good people, but if you want to talk through me, you can talk through me. So I said, you can hold my hand if it makes you feel better. And I laid my arm over the armrest of the couch. And then I felt this cold swirling in it. And it felt like a ball of ice go to my hand. And then I was like, something's holding my hand. Now I have children, so I know the feeling of a little hand. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh, that's creepy.
I look over at my hand, and with my eyes, I can see it looks like dry ice swirling around my hand. I can actually see this physically. And I'm like, oh, you guys see this shit? Like, you see this shit? And they're like, no. I said, come feel my hand. And they did. And they're like, holy shit, your hand's ice cold. You could feel the cold air, but they couldn't see what I was seeing. And I'm like, sitting there like, so my freaking Mortal Kombat shit. This is amazing. And we were interacting with the little boy, and I got super drained. I was like, I need to take a break. And I went outside, and I was like, I don't know what that shit was. Like, I need to recharge. Like, that was some wacky ass shit. Stayed outside for like a half hour. I came back in, and I said, okay, I'm back. We can do this again. Put my hand out. Within 30 seconds, it was in my hand again. And we were trying to communicate. And what we gathered is that he's scared of someone else in the house, some other spirit that's in this castle. But I was sitting there and I can see the smoke again. This time it was billowing. And I said, you can't take all my energy. I'm really drained right now. You gotta leave something with me. And then I looked at my hand again, and I saw a little boy's hand. I saw his actual hand in mine, in about this much of his arm, and I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, and then he walked, and then he was gone, and then that was it. And I was just like, I don't know what this just was. I go back outside. I get a message on Facebook from a psychic, and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Not really." He goes, "I'm picking up on some stuff that was just happening with you." Now, I wasn't live or anything because we were filming for a documentary, and be honest, I wasn't really friendly with the person. This was just one of those Facebook friends that and I was like, but to know that this dude picked up on some stuff I was dealing with was pretty crazy for me. So, tried to sleep that night, didn't work so well. Got up early the next morning. I was the first one up, and I went back. So where this room is right off of where you go out the doors to the veranda to look out over the front yard. And I always go out there and sit and drink coffee in the morning. And I came around the corner, and as I did, I heard noise in that room, and I looked, and there's no one in there. And I said, "Hey, if that's you, I just heard you. Thank you for last night interacting with me. I really appreciate it." And I heard another noise, and I walked a little further into the room, and I saw nothing. And I looked down at my feet, and there's a penny on the floor. And this penny's on the rug right where we had all of our equipment the night before. REM pods, everything else. When we picked all that up, there's no way there was a penny on the floor. And it was a Canadian penny. I still have it in my wallet to this day. I kept it. And I feel like that's a gift to me from him. So I carry it with me all the time. And it was one of those experiences that I've never had anything like it since or before. It was like, that was the one. So I'd like to, again, someday experience something like that. I don't know if I will, but that was the one.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's
pretty good. I had a medium years ago who told me I had a spirit that was with me, and that he would prove that he was with me. He'd start leaving me dimes, and I'm like, yeah, all right, he's gonna leave me dimes. And from that day, throughout like the next 10 years, easily dimes. Like in significant moments of my life, I look down, there'd be a dime there, or I open the car door, there's a dime. Me and my wife moved out of the house we were in to our apartment in the Bucket, and the last 10 boxes that we took out of there, every single box had one single dime in it. Just like weird shit like that would happen. And then after my wife had passed, I started finding dimes again more frequently. Just a single dime, no other change anywhere, not in like on the bureau where I put my change down or something, but like when you open your car door and it's bam, it's sitting there looking at you right on the floor. Or you open your door to walk out in the morning, and bam, it's right on the step looking at you. It's like thank you, Heather, and you pick it up and you thank him for it, and you keep it moving. But I know it's like huge coincidental that it's a lot of skeptics say no, you're just like
one time one or two times is a coincidence, but over and over and over again, it's not a coincidence.
Especially if someone tells you that it's going to happen and then it does.
Exactly.
Just makes it more real for me. I don't know.
See, that sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so last week we had talked about some of the equipment that Buddy uses during his investigations. What's some of the equipment that you use on a typical investigation? What does it go like case by case?
So I've scaled back investigating quite a bit. I burnt myself out basically at the end of the day. I was doing too much for too long. But I mean, it's all around me because I've got my gear case I'm trying to reconfigure so that I can have it all in one. So what I like to have with me at all times, REM pod, Mel meter. I've got an EDI, paranormal music box. I just picked up. I'm really excited about this. I got one of Jay Prather's IDC devices, and they're
You're going to totally have to explain all this to Brendan because he has no idea what you're talking about.
That's okay. That's what we're here for, right? But yeah,
I hope to explain to our listeners.
I've got like 20 pieces sitting right there that need to go into the case. I've got a portal that I built for Spirit Box Talks. I got FLIR camera. The recorders, the laser grids. I've got everything that you would want to have.
Yeah.
And I use probably none of it. I honestly like to just sit and listen and be in the environment and just see what happens.
Yes.
And I used to make fun of people like that. Like, oh, your body's all you need. I'm like, that's a cop out. But it really isn't. It really isn't at the end of the day. That was young, angry me, like thinking like, I had to have all the crap that the they have on TV shows. Most of that stuff's just for TV.
Yep.
It's to light up and
public events where the public want to see shit that they see on TV.
That's why I have all this crap so that they
teddy bears and all the silly shit that you see on TV. Yeah.
People love the K2 meters. Like that thing moves. It's like, oh my god, it's a ghost. I'm like, dude, no, but okay. Thanks for the $50.
$20 at Walmart. You get them at $20 at Walmart.
Yeah.
Just saying, just putting that out there.
But he's trying to save everybody some money.
Recently discovered that. I am not a big fan of Walmart, but it's huge that they sell K2 meters for like 80% less than you'll find on any of the ghost stores. I'm sorry, ghostshop.com. I know we were bashing you last week. I bought a spirit box from you. I'm sorry, go on. What's
a K2 meter?
Did you have yours, buddy? Yeah.
Yeah, I got this one right here, Brendan. This is the K2 meter.
Oh, yeah.
So
all right. So
it creates a little field in here that when electromagnetic energy breaks that field, it lights up how many milligauss, right?
Basically, it lets you know when there's an electrical interference in the air. So 99.9% of the times, that's because there's Wi-Fi, or you get a text on your phone, or it's a walkie-talkie, or it's a junction box in the wall. That's usually what sets them off.
So, with all these tools and your ability to like feel energy, right? Do you feel like you sense the energy far before like these machines tend to pick stuff up?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with this, what people call ghost hunting equipment, almost all of it was made for regular other things. like that K2 meter, that's an electrician's tool to figure out if there's an electrical short in a wire somewhere.
Right.
The FLIR camera, which is a thermal camera, that's to detect cold spots to see where you're losing heat in your house. Recorders obviously are for other things. But most of this stuff, I mean, they claim that it's to help you detect it could be spiritual, but of course everybody wants it to be a spirit. So we have a spot in the hall, the second floor in the grand ballroom, where K2 meters and REM pods go buck wild. The thing is, all that electricity, all the electrical work in there has been redone with insulated cables, and it's all updated, so it's not the electrical. So we don't know what the hell it is, but that's another one we love. It's like, hey, just put some REM pods over there. You guys have a great night, and things interact with it. We don't know what it is, but it's not the electrical.
So Matt, as a skeptical investigator, I get people like scoff at me all the time because I shoot down their evidence. But one of my biggest no, absolutely not. In the paranormal world, what's your thoughts on orbs? The orb, is it paranormal? Is it just dust and moisture? Like I tell everybody, it is. You
can't debunk 100% of orbs as non-paranormal.
Okay.
There are 1% of orbs, maybe 2, that you can't explain, which therefore, by definition, makes it paranormal.
All right, like the ball of light, for example.
Yeah, exactly. Some of the stuff I used to be like most people would be like, "Oh, I got to post all this evidence." I stopped because I don't care anymore. Like I don't need to present anything for anybody else. But you get all these bozos online. Nope, that's not what it is. I'm like, "Oh, were you there in the room? Were you there when it happened?" No, you weren't. You were sitting at home, bro. So I have one video on YouTube which continually gets comments weekly. That's been up for a couple of years. It happened at Wilson Castle. I was sleeping in bed, and the only reason I was being filmed, not because there's some weird voyeur shit going on. They were filming. They had DVRs in all the rooms that night. I was dead ass asleep, and you could see dust flying around, but you see this pulsing orb come out of the bathroom, and it's going like this, and it goes right down into my chest.
Nice.
And about 20 seconds later, you see that same orb come flying up out of my chest. The reason this is important is because the next day I woke up. Obviously, I didn't know that happened. I woke up with chest pains the next day, like someone had donkey kicked me in the chest.
Oh,
I was like, "Damn, dude, I don't feel very well." I went to bed fine. We watched that footage, and I'm like, well, "What the hell's that then? Does that explain it?" No, it doesn't explain it. But what was that?
Right.
And so that's up on YouTube, and 99% of the people are like, "Oh, that's you were astral projecting. Your soul left your body." And there's those guys. That's just fucking dust. Like, whatever. It is what you want it to be. How's that sound?
Yeah, that's true. That's good perspective. Somebody sent me a video the other day, and it just looked like moisture moving across the screen, and it went into it's this guy's Ring camera. It was in the middle of the night, and it went almost into the house. And everybody's telling him, "You got to move out. You got to sell the house. You got a demon in your house." I'm like, I messaged the guy on Facebook. I'm like, honestly, dude, 99.9% sure that that's like just something that is natural and completely explainable. Moisture, maybe dust, maybe it's outside. The wind could be blowing
Those ring
around
cameras, there's so
particles.
many what ifs with those things. It's
Right.
outdoors. Yeah.
Everybody's saying like, "Oh my God, call in Father Bob." Like, "Oh my God, you're going to be possessed by the devil." No, dude.
Yep.
And that's what I really don't like about the paranormal. That everything gets assigned paranormal, and usually, honestly, it's not, and it's completely explicable. So that's just I just wanted to throw that out there. All right, go ahead, Brendan.
So, as a skeptic, how do you draw the line between trying to be skeptic and trying to, I don't want to say believe, because you always believe, but like, where do you draw the line at like where you start to think like this could be something of the paranormal, like descent?
So I describe myself as a skeptical believer. I believe my own experiences, and I believe that you guys have your own experiences, but doesn't necessarily believe. I don't necessarily believe they're paranormal. I need proof from other people. I don't need to prove anything to myself. So that's kind of the stance that I have on it. But I do always try to come up with a logical explanation for things that have happened, because that's the skeptic in me. I don't want to believe that all this paranormal crap is going on all the time around all of us and we're just missing out on it, because it's not how it really works.
Oh my goodness.
That's pretty violent and sexual.
I don't. Wow, I don't know if it's popping up on everybody's screen, but that was hilarious.
From Manchester.
There's worse ways to go.
That was hilarious. That I can't. Oh God.
From
okay. All right.
Virgil King.
He's British. It doesn't count.
Yeah, right.
All right. So you're a skeptic, but you also like have all these feelings, everything like that. How tough is it to shut off after an investigation? Like when you have like such like an energy rush, we'll say. You know what I mean? Like when you take on somebody's energy, how long does it take you to like kind of regulate your body back to like a calm water level?
So like investigation wise, those things usually drain the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And then, the term paranormal hangover, we all experience those from I think a lot of it is just because people stay up late. I don't stay up late anymore. I don't do that. Like, I'm going to stay up all night in this building. No, it's midnight. If nothing's happening, good night. I'm going to bed. I don't care. Yeah. And my friends have given me shit about that for years, but I'm like we were at Waverly Hills a couple of years ago and we hadn't even gone yet. And it was like 4:30 in the afternoon. I was like, I don't know, dude. I'm kind of tired. I might just take a nap or something. Like, you're not even going to go. I'm like, man, I've been before, dude. Like, whatever. Like, I don't care. Like, come to Waverly with us. I'm like, all right, fine. We'll go to Waverly. And we get there. And it was like 8. And they're like, you ready to go to bed? I was like, actually, yeah. But, whatever. We'll investigate and have some fun. I took a nap for a little while. But, I just feel like when you're young and gung-ho and ready to rock, you'll stay up for days doing this crap straight. But it doesn't change the outcome. If it's going to happen for you, it's going to happen. And if it doesn't, I always say this, you can go to the zoo and know they have lions there, but if the lions don't want to come out of that cave they live in, you're not going to see them. Just like ghosts, and some ghosts just don't want to talk to you. That's just how it is. You come in with a bad attitude. I know, buddy, you've witnessed this before. People that come in and investigate, run in the location with a shitty attitude. It's like, they're not going to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. I'm a human. They're just humans on the other side of the veil. Why are they going to want to talk to you acting like a dick?
Right. Oh, no, exactly. That was one of my favorite EVPs of all time. It's later in the night. I walk into a room where there was a lot of talk of an old lady spirit in there. Where, hey, where's the old lady? Wait, let me talk to the old lady. The guy I'm with, he's this older guy. He's like, Scott. He's like, buddy. He's like, I remember you're talking to a woman that was like from the Victorian era. She's just a more respectful tone. You gotta be like, hello, Mrs. Champlin, and immediately, hello, like, oh my God, on the recording, like, oh my God, that was so clear. So yeah, I tell people all the time, you're just talking to people. I mean, yeah, they might be dead, but they're people, and they respond to respect and they respond to antagonization the same way you or I would. So you just gotta treat them accordingly, basically.
Have you had an experience where it was like a real negative energy that was tough to shake after?
Yeah. Yeah. One of the scariest experiences I had was out in Detroit. Not because I was in Detroit, but because of the location I was at. Unfortunately, it's a place that's no longer open to people because the proprietor passed away a couple years back. It was the Detroit 6th Precinct, old police station. And the history in this building was out of control. It was where the Detroit race riots broke out in the late 60s, right out front of the building.
Yeah.
And there's actually pictures of the National Guard being shacked up in this building, shooting out the windows at the whatever the hell was going on outside. And this precinct bordered two different rival neighborhoods. Like, and I don't want to misspeak, but maybe it was like, I think it was like one side was like the Mexican gangs and there was another gang on the other side. And this was right in the middle of everything. So, all of Detroit is rough, but this was a rough area in Detroit.
Yeah.
This precinct itself in the 80s was so corrupt that the mayor and the city came in and they cleared house and they got rid of the entire police force because there was so much corruption going on. And then it was used later on as I want to say like a training grounds for law enforcement. There was a shooting range in the basement of this place. And I had some friends out there. I flew out to Detroit for a long weekend. It was one of the best investigative weekends I ever had. I went all over and I got to the Detroit 6th Precinct. And actually at this point in time, I had a really dark attachment and I didn't understand that crap then. I was like, yeah, whatever, man, full of shit. But we went, it was August. It was hot as balls. It was like so hot out there. Mm-hmm. This building was 95 degrees inside. And it's all cement, so it wasn't that bad. But there was it was so hot the batteries were just like dying on everything. Not from spirits, it was just too hot. They were like basically melting. I'm like, dude, I can't use any of my stuff. So I went down into the shooting range in the basement, and there was a known spirit down there named Billy, and he's an asshole. Mm. And there was a group of girls down there doing a thing. So I went down, and I was trying to communicate with them. And I said, hey, if you're here, let us know you're here. We got some noises. And I was trying to get them to tell me, I was like, are you a murderer? Why are you here? And got some different responses. We got ignored. We had the REM pod. And I said, well, were you a rapist? And the thing lit up. And I instantly got angry. I said, well, you're a piece of shit and I have no respect for you. I said, you're scum. And at that point in time, I felt this energy in this room change so badly. Like I felt scared for myself. And I was like, all right, I get it. You don't want me here. I said, I'm going to go. And I went upstairs and I was like, all right, I didn't like this. I had a friend who was watching the live stream because they used to have the cameras live streaming. And he texted me. He goes, hey, and this at this point, I'm the only one on the main floor. So there was a second floor, which had like an auditorium. The main floor, which had the cell block, and then the basement had the gun range. But because it was so freaking hot, people kept going outside. And I think there was only like 7 or 8 of us that night. So I'm just sitting at the little command central trying to make my batteries work, and I get a text like, hey, I just saw some movement in the cell block. You should go check it out. I'm like, no, I shouldn't. But okay, I'm by myself. And I'm like, all right, I know there's cameras in there. So when there's cameras, I don't feel alone. So I walk into the cell block, and there's, I want to say, we'll call it 4 cells on each side of this hallway. And at the end, there's the drunk tank where they would put the drunks. Mm-hmm. So I walk in there and I say, hey, if anybody's in here, let yourself be known. And I'm just kind of standing in the center of the hallway. And from one of the cell blocks over here, I see soccer ball of energy yet again. And I'm like, okay, I know you're in there. Mm-hmm. You can communicate with me if you want to. And I can just see the silhouette of a person come out from the back wall enough where the silhouette came like this, and then it just backed into the wall again. I'm like, all right, I get you here. I said, but can you tell us what you want? Whatever I was saying. Then I heard noise down to my right in the drunk tank. So I was like, all right, I go down to the drunk tank. I open the door. I'm like, is anybody in here? Is there anyone here? I hear the noise back down in the hall where I just was. So I walk down, and now I'm mad. I'm like, dude, I don't want to play these games. I don't want this back and forth. If you want me to leave, you have to make it known that you don't want me here. Let me know you want me out of here right now, or I'm just going to stay all night. I look back at the drunk tank in that doorway. There's a massive black shadow standing in that doorway.
God.
and then it rushes me.
Oh,
It comes at me and it goes through me, and it's just cold, like, whew, and I'm just like, holy, like I'm done at this point. And like I know this camera's on me, so I don't look like a little bitch, but I'm like, all right, I'm good here, and I just took off and I went outside. I didn't go back in the building that night. I never went in the building again after that. That was it. I was all set.
You called down hell, man. And
I did, yeah. And that guy Billy didn't like me, and
I guess not.
yeah, but those are the only places like jails and stuff like that. That's where I'll be disrespectful to the spirits because they're scum, And I've had other experiences, nothing like that though. That was crazy.
All
right.
That's good.
I was reading it at first, like, oh, and
also.
Thank you, Virgil. Thank you, Virgil. Okay.
Helpful to know.
So you don't do as many investigations as you were doing in the past because it drained you, right?
I just got burned out from doing it, basically, not because it drained me. I as an observer of everything that's going on in the field right now, I can't even be bothered to be a part of most of it. The people are just deplorable. Just stay out of it. Just don't get into it, man. It's just drama everywhere you turn. It's just all drama. Everybody's, it's a dick measuring contest over who has the best fake evidence nowadays. It's terrible. It's terrible. YouTube investigators have ruined paranormal for everybody because everything's a demon, everything's a jump scare, all these stupid thumbnails, O faces. Right. It's terrible.
There is a lot of that now, especially with the television shows and all that stuff. Yep. We talked about that a little bit last week about how
want to self-promote, want to make money off of this. This is not if you want to make money, the paranormal is probably not for you. I don't know. I mean, maybe it is because a lot of people seem to be making money from it, but I don't know.
Yeah, but for all the wrong reasons, in the wrong ways.
Right.
Like that's I'm not gonna sit and fake crap just so I can get a few views or some likes. It's just I don't believe in that,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Do you have like a favorite investigation that you've ever done?
Well, that one in Detroit was very high up for me. That first Wilson Castle one was very high up for me. I would say probably my favorite is probably the first time I ever went to Waverly Hills. Mm-hmm. I did that. It was a bucket list for me for absolutely forever, and it was one of those ones you see on all the TV shows. Mm-hmm. And I was turning 35, and I said, you know what? I'm renting this whole goddamn place, and I don't care. It was at the time it was $1,000. I said, whatever, I'll pay $1,000 goddamn dollars. And I booked it, and I also booked Bobby Mackey's for 2 nights prior to that, which is now getting torn down. So I'm glad I got there, even though the place is a shithole.
No, what's that?
Oh, Bobby Mackey's is in Wilder, Kentucky. It's an old honky tonk bar. Very hyped up, in my personal opinion. I find it to be an absolute sham, but there's supposedly a portal to hell in the basement. It's this old well. I stood in it. I'm still here. I had some experiences there. That's not to say I didn't, but Ghost Adventures put the place on the map and basically said it's one of the most haunted places in the world. So everybody had to go there. This place, I can't believe it's now just getting torn down because this was almost 8 years ago now. And it was raining the night we were there, and there was so much water coming in through the roof. One of the tables was just like a waterfall. And it was moldy. It smelled like old cigarettes. I'm like, dude, this place would be condemned in Massachusetts in a week. I don't know how you're still in business. But so that was a crazy weekend. I booked the both of it. It wound up being just 5 of us total. So 5 of us total to have 200,000 square feet of Waverly Hills was incredible. And I had my starter ghost hunting kit. I had nothing. I didn't have anything good, but it was just. And they had a thing back then. I think they still do it called the Waverly Challenge, where the guide will walk you somewhere into the place blindfolded, with no lights for you or anything, and just leave you there. And then you have to find your way back to base camp.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Like, I wouldn't do that now as a seasoned investigator. That sounds horrible to me. Like, no flashlight, no, thank you, dude. Like,
it's awful.
The way that Waverly is designed, it's shaped like a bat wing. So there's no straight hallways. You get a straight hallway, and then you got this mystery ass curve. So you got to like peek around and see that whole ass hallway. And then there's another whole ass hallway around another curve. There's 5 floors of that. So, 4 floors because
Yeah.
the 5th floor is a very small with open ended, but it's just
No.
a scary ass place. And they have what's called the body chute at Waverly. It's a 500-foot long tunnel that goes straight down where it wasn't always used for that, but at the peak of tuberculosis, something like 27,000 people died there, and they didn't want to bring all the bodies out. I think that's no. I want to say it was almost 9,000. I don't want to spread falsities here, but it got to the point where they showed me the room where their morgue was, because I've laid in the morgue tray there and stuff like that. It's like 6 drawers. But they had so many bodies at one point in time. There was this whole room. They just had them stacked up, and they would wheel them out and down this rail cart system because the train would come right down at the base of the hill so that the patients didn't see all these dead bodies. So this whole body chute, it used to be referred to as the death tunnel. They didn't like that, so they call it the body chute. My whole thing was like, all right, I'm gonna walk down to the bottom of the body chute by myself. That's what I'm gonna do. And I did that, and that was horrifying. But I would do that again. But the problem is Waverly Hill's got some grimy ass spiders. It's also got bats. And I don't like either of those things very much, but it's an interesting place. So that was probably my favorite investigation because it was my first real, legit, massive scale investigation.
Yeah.
Legit.
I've been to some awesome places, but that's still up there.
That sounds amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you have a least favorite? One that you got to read on, but it was just like either like really bad energy or just wasn't.
Least.
I mean, least favorite that like I would say Mackey's didn't live up to the hype. So that's always one I reference as like an overhyped type of a place. But I'm also going to preface it as a location person now. One night of non-activity doesn't mean it's not haunted. It just means you had an off night. So,
right.
And I did still have some activity there. I just think I definitely still stand by the fact that it's overhyped. And I'm not going to name any other places because I don't want to do that to a business because I don't have any ill will towards these people. But there's a lot of places that I've been to that I'm like, this is some hocus pocus bullshit y'all are peddling. But
right, I've had a lot of not bad experiences, just like no experiences, like residentials. People think they swear it's haunted, and you go and you investigate, and you find other things, and then when you investigate, when you actually sit there, you find that you are actually sitting in the dark, talking to absolutely nothing. Those are honest that and interactions with the living, that are absolutely terrifying. I saw a woman almost attack James Anito at a residential house I went to him with. It was a little scary, you know. I thought I was
probably
gonna
deserved
have
it.
to go hands on, but yeah, he might have. But he was just trying to help her. We were just there trying to help her, and I want to say it was more of an act, but she was definitely mentally ill and showing some serious symptoms. But it was like a light switch. So like once we went down into this creepy basement, that's where all the stuff was happening. Her tone changed and her voice changed. I'm like, is this lady for real? I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like she's crying upstairs.
I stopped
like,
doing residentials for people like that. Like years ago, like I was like, I'm not doing this shit anymore. People just want their house to be haunted. They want to say their house is haunted.
Absolutely, dude.
We don't get paid for these because we're not scumbags. I'm not wasting my time coming to your stupid house.
All the field work to do, you do a lot, and then if you tell them that it's not haunted, sometimes you like turn into the biggest scumbag in the world, and like they hate you. But no, it's just we didn't find anything. I'm sorry. Or like I could explain the shadows that you were seeing in the hallway. I could explain those creepy feelings you feel when you go downstairs and do the laundry. It's very natural. It's not a ghost. I'm sorry.
Right.
I had a lady reach out to me, and she said that she had a demon in her house. And this was before demon was such a hot button word. So it's like, all right, whatever. I'll come check out your house. And she had a couple of teenage boys. So I talked to them. I was like, you guys aren't messing around? Like, no. I said, okay. I know they were because I was a teenage boy. My brother and I used to make my mother's life hell just for fun. Like we would prank that woman we still do it. And it's a great time. So I know how that dynamic is. But she was terrified because she had these little baby footprints all over her oil tank in her basement. So we go down to her basement. And it's a nice, clean basement. It's not like some disgusting like farmhouse basement. So this oil tank's got dust on it, and it's got these little mini prints. But I'm like, oh, okay. Like, well, that's interesting. We did some readings, got the K2, and I was like, you've got a junction box right here. Okay, and whatever. So then the light bulb moment goes off. I'm like, I used to ride the bus to school, for 1 year until I got kicked off. In the winter, those bus windows would fog up. So what do? You put your arms on it like this, and it looks just like a friggin' baby's footprint when you push it onto the window. I replicated it in the dust. I just got big ass hands, and it looked almost the same. And I said, unfortunately, somebody's playing a joke on you.
Right.
Nope. No, my kids wouldn't do that. I'm like, well, somebody did. I'm like, they probably did. And she didn't want to hear it. She was so upset that we didn't tell her her house was haunted. I was like, I never heard from her again, but I wanted to like run into her kids and be like, really? You did that, right? Like, because that's what it was. Clear as day.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't do any more residential stuff. It's just all like commercial buildings
I
that
do
are
not.
closed down and all.
I just thrill seek basically for my own benefit at this point. Yeah, I run the locations that I have for others to enjoy and research, and then I just go off and have fun doing my thing.
That's awesome.
If someone reaches out to me looking for help, I'll send them to somebody that will help them. I'm just not interested.
Yeah. Well, that kind of sounds perfect anyway, like how you want to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, over the years, there's so many people that are like, there are so many people that are like, oh, if you're not doing residentials, you're not in it to help people, you're in it for the wrong reasons. I'm like, there's no right or wrong reason. You're in it for however you want to be in it. Like, no one said like you had to help people to do the paranormal. That's friggin' ridiculous. Like,
right.
I used to hate those people that would say that shit. You should be doing it to help people. I help people with my day job. I want to have some fun, dude. Fuck out of here.
That's true. I do like to help people, but I also like to go to these like extremely historical places, or we're planning on going to a local municipal building here in Rhode Island, hopefully the end of this month. And it's just like those wicked old, beautiful architecture, just to be able to experience and appreciate this stuff on my own level, and investigate at the same time. I love doing stuff like that as well. I mean, that's equally as fun as like trying to help somebody to alleviate their ghost problem, is to actually just explore.
You're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For your own experience, which is cool. Yep.
Ooh. That was good, man.
Yeah.
Buddy, do you have any more questions before we take a break?
Any more questions? No, I'm good. I'm good for right now.
Thank you for your time, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
Coming on. We'd love to have you on again sometime.
You say the word, I'll be there.
Oh, for sure.
Beautiful, dude. All right, and buddy, you want to take us a break?
Yeah, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Well, the dog does not perform well. It's going to not eat for 10 days and be sent over to Mike Vick's house because this owner is a psychopath. Little stumble there, not good for Sparky. Leaps over 1, 2, 3 poles, and he's on his way. He's making and picking up speed from his little mistake as he jumps on the seesaw very well and goes through the blue dildo hole. Hops over the other pole, leaps over that thing pretty well. Makes his way down the slide, and now he has some pretty good time. Slowing up there, though, he's going to lose some points. He might get smacked around for that one. Leaps over 2 more poles, and he looks... Oh, he's taking a shit. You don't see that every day, folks. The owner is devastated, and sometimes when you got to go, you got to go. That poor dog is going to be, well, good luck to him. That owner is a psycho. Also one of those owners that just lets the dog shit in your front yard and doesn't give a fuck about it and doesn't pick it up. But she does. And tonight's fan of the game, none other than the Devil, who is in tonight's fan of the game. All sorts of possessed and fucked up. We're going to let her just go about her way. He has dreamed about this his whole life. Fabriga, the Olympics. Oh, fuck. That is not good. What does Fabriga think this is? A high school pool party? You can see what he does wrong here. I think he took a shit midair because look at his face. And the dive is just horrendous. And I believe the judges are going to rape him for this one. Let's check out what he got. Yep, all zeros across the board. Fabriga is not happy. Let's cut over to John David Pahoyo, who is ready for... Now, this fight should have been over long ago. The kid in the blue has pinned this kid in the black 3 times already, but the referee seems to not want to call this fight. And they're going at it. And look at this. Kid in the black squeals out of it. And they're back on their feet. Kid in the blue says, fuck this. I'm taking matters into my own hands. And watch out. My goodness gracious. Dana White, keep an eye on this kid. That's all she wrote. Fight is over.
All right, and we're back.
Perfect.
Great show, great times in Boston. I recommend anybody who's remotely into Irish folk music and in more of a punkish tone, go see Dropkick Murphys. But anyway, moving on.
What a great conversation that we just had with Matt.
Dude, Matt Warner is a great guy. I've
was
interviewed him a bunch of times. I've watched him ghost hunt once. He's a cool guy. He does a lot of cool places. He travels out to Europe. Like me, he'd like to do something like European, like really old school investigating. He's just a wicked cool guy all around. He likes good music. He's a big fan of the Woo. We didn't talk about the Woo, but I mean, you can talk about Wu-Tang Clan with him for forever. So whatever comes up. Fitness. He owns Bare Bones Gym over there on the tip, just the tip. And what is it? Just the tip. What town? Starts with an
Abington.
A. Abington. It's over near Bracton, right? Over that way.
It's up near Boston. Yeah.
Boston,
it's not,
up that way.
Yeah. It's like past Bridgewater and
Bridgewater.
It's Bridgewater, then something else, maybe Whitman or whatever, and then Abington.
Whitman,
right. It's right in that area over there.
Right in that crackle of right up there, yeah.
Exactly.
So
now let's talk about some sports while we're talking right now. I was pulling up some odds for next year's NFL season because
dude, it's gonna be interesting. There was a lot of good free agency and trades going on. A lot of different dynamics. Holy Pittsburgh Steelers, holy Chicago Bears, even though their organization is trash.
All right, so let's start with the Steelers first.
Okay, yeah, please.
Since you brought them up, they trade for Justin Fields for a bag of donuts.
Yeah,
right. They get Russell Wilson for a 10-year-old's allowance.
Right. I mean,
in the grand scheme of things, dude, they got him for the vet minimum, which was 1.2, which obviously a lot of money to normal people like ourselves.
You and I, but yeah.
But in the grand scheme of football, for a starting NFL quarterback, $1.2 million is ridiculously cheap.
A one-time Super Bowl caliber quarterback, even though he
won a Super Bowl.
He took a shit in Denver, but I mean, he
I think that we'll get into Denver, but not a fan of Sean Payton, dude.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think he's overrated. And Russell Wilson didn't have a bad year. He had like 28 touchdowns and I think like 8 interceptions or something.
He did better this year, but the first year he went to Denver, I think everybody expected him to be like Denver to be like on their way to. They were just absolutely garbage. And
but
then
they were also garbage.
They get on by the Dolphins, 70 points, dude. That was like, what am I watching here? The Dolphins aren't that good.
Dolphins 3 points away from tying the NFL record too, or breaking the NFL record.
Right.
Which I wish they would have, because I love me some Mike McDaniel. But
yeah, we need more records. But anyway.
Yeah, they need to win a Super Bowl. But so the Steelers pick up Russell Wilson and then go off and trade for Justin Fields. Justin Fields only going for a 6th-round pick that can turn into a 5th or a 4th.
So who's going to be the starting quarterback?
Russell Wilson.
You think it's Russell? Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
Fields,
right? That's what
Fields needs a little tutelage. I feel in the NFL, the modern NFL, in the last like 5 or 6 years or so, quarterbacks don't have to quarterbacks before of old, like even Tom Brady would do Drew Bledsoe. They had the tutelage under the veteran quarterback for at least a year before they started. Now they have all these kids coming out of college and they're just jumping right into the and they're not playing great. So, as he said,
I was thinking about this before, right? And then think about who the top quarterbacks in the NFL are right now.
Tua, no, he's not the top quarterback.
He's not a top quarterback in the NFL.
No, it's Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog. He's pretty good.
Pat Mahomes.
Mahomes
sat for a year behind Alex Smith.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Who else?
Aaron Rodgers.
I would say right? Lamar Jackson.
Aaron Rodgers.
All right, Aaron Rodgers.
4 years behind Brett Favre.
Brett Favre, one of the greatest of our time.
Yep. Lamar Jackson did sit for a year, I believe, or at least
under Flacco,
under Flacco, right? So he sat for a year. Josh Allen also sat for a little while before he got going.
Who was his boss? Who was his boss? who was the quarterback that started when
Tyrod Taylor.
he sucks, but no.
What did it allow Josh Allen to sit?
Then he got good anyway, so
Right.
it was all about the receiver.
Even Russell Wilson sat.
Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe. I mean, that's the greatest of all time. Unfortunately, it makes me nauseous to say that now, but
one of the greatest of all time.
I can keep it down. I can keep it down now.
One of the greatest of all time. Yeah. Let's not be silly. Who else? But that's going to be a hot topic here, man.
Steve Young, and Joe Montana, right there.
Right, but I'm just saying, just in today's NFL, who are the top dogs that are playing right now? I mean, you have your anomalies too, like the C.J. Strouds that came out and had a great rookie year. Like,
he was fun. He was phenomenal. Actually, I did not expect that.
Right, you will have guys like that, but
then you guys have guys like Trevor Lawrence who absolutely pooped the bed.
I wouldn't say poop the bed. He had
kind of his coach was a problem.
He had finger guns from Ohio State running the show over there, and Urban Meyer's a fucking joke. Like, Ohio State sucks. I'm not gonna get going on that, but if you're an Ohio State fan and you're hit, like, I hate Ohio State. Like,
that's good to know.
They still celebrate that championship when that phantom pass interference call on the U. Oh, bullshit, dude. Yeah. Bullshit. That was bullshit. That was the latest fucking. All right, that was bullshit. And it robbed us of a championship and set our fucking. Oh, it set us back. Set us back, buddy. We've never recovered. Never. And they celebrate like they won that game. They didn't win that game.
Anyway. No. Bastards. Virgil, you know Virgil.
Thank you.
Representing us from Manchester.
If you do look at it, a lot of the successful quarterbacks have sat. Whether it's a full season, whether it's half a season, 4 years, whatever it is.
They've had somebody to watch. They've had
Jordan Love. Jordan Love
right.
learned from Aaron Rodgers. 4 years he sat, came in this year, started off slow, ended up having a really good year. Really good year.
Right, and, Brock Purdy, Garoppolo, right? Brock Purdy, Garoppolo.
Yeah. I mean, I think it just benefits guys. I think it benefits guys to come in, sit a year, get to the speed, because the NFL speed is completely different from the NCAA speed.
Right. You see guys in college and they're rock stars, and then they get right. I'm taking a class this semester called sports psychology. My first paper was to describe your favorite sports moment. We talked about that last week. Yep. My final project, I got to pick an athlete right now who was good at one point in their career and has since really tanked, and do an assessment, a psychological assessment, how to help their psyche so they'll become a better athlete. So my choice for that, of course, the former starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, Mac Jones, is my who I'm doing my paper on this semester. He came out of college so hot. He came out of high school hot. He won state and regional titles. He went out to college. He learned. He became the starting quarterback. He did amazing. He went in the NFL. He's good. Honestly, dude, I was a little scared his rookie season as a Dolphins fan. I was like, this guy could be something. And then Josh McDaniels left, and he hit the bed completely.
Okay. So, in regards to Mac Jones, right, he had a decent rookie season.
He did.
It wasn't great. He had a 4 or 5 game stretch where the Pats won 4 in a row. He threw the ball well. I think he threw for 300 yards twice in that stretch. I'm pretty sure I'm remembering this correctly. But he didn't light the world on fire. But what he did do was he managed the game efficiently. Yep. He didn't make bad mistakes, like horrible mistakes that'll kill a quarterback. He didn't hold on to the ball too long.
Yep. But
he also had time to throw the ball. He had Julian Edelman, who was actually a real receiver, unlike what they've thrown out there.
Yep, amazing.
Great, one of the best slot receivers, I think, in the history of the NFL. Slot receivers, I'm not saying compare him to Jerry Rice or anything like that. But for a slot receiver goes, for my money, I'd probably put Jules up against anybody.
Yeah.
In the slot. Even Wes Welker and Troy Brown's got a special place in my heart as a Patriot.
Love Wes Welker.
Yeah,
I love him now
he was
more
one of
because
yours.
he's my coach. But I mean,
But with Mac, I think it has a lot to do with psychology. I think the beat that he took over the next couple of years, and like we talked about last week, them flip-flopping coordinators. You know, you have Fat Trisha calling plays. And then you
had a great beard, but
yeah, and then you have Billy Teapot O'Brien, who, to me, when he was here the first time, wasn't impressive. Like, I remember him. They had wide receivers like Tyquan Underwood, but I mean, he still wasn't great. He had Gronk. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, yeah, he likes to use the middle. No shit. He had Gronk and Hernandez. No shit. He likes to use the middle. I can throw the ball to those two.
Right, those amazing tight ends. Yeah,
two of the best. Aaron Hernandez is the best tight end that I've ever seen. It's a damn shame what happened to him.
He murdered people, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and lost his mind. Yep.
It's a damn shame. Like, that mental illness is a real thing.
CTE. That's all right. So that's traumatic brain injury, probably coupled with a little bit of mental illness, from what I understand of him. Maybe like depressional issues from a kid or something. And then he was a closet homosexual, and that had to cause him.
I don't believe. I honestly, to be honest,
a very
I don't
masculine.
I don't believe that. Well, I think it's bullshit.
So excuse that whole documentary that did. Excuse all that. The fact
a lot of that. Did you see that Netflix had to apologize? A lot of that was fake.
Really? Oh, I didn't see any of that.
So, you know, the guy that, and I don't mind putting it on here because I remember them talking about it, like, on a bunch of shows and reading about it. The kid that pretended to be his boyfriend.
Yeah. That's the boyfriend.
Turns out Aaron Hernandez didn't even know who the kid was.
The boyfriend. They were in high school together or something.
Yeah, he never even played on the football team. He was a liar.
They were pool boys together, and then
he was a liar. All that stuff was made up. Him and his dad made it all up, dude. Aaron Hernandez's brother DJ came out and like disputed it all. He's like, he didn't know this kid. He didn't play on the football team. He's full of shit.
Yeah,
because Aaron's brother was the quarterback in high school.
All right, so excuse that. Excuse that. Just the fact couple that he's like maybe harboring a little bit of mental illness, but maybe in fact definitely has traumatic brain injury, which causes a lot of the similar symptoms of somebody with mental illness, and is also like really not easily treated. Probably caused him like the incredible paranoia that he had, and it caused him to buy a weapon. And he was around that lifestyle when he was living in Bridgeport. So yeah, I get it. You can take a girl out of the bucket, but you can't take the bucket out a girl. I've heard that for years.
Anyway,
same thing with A. Hernandez.
You're gonna have a lot to do on the psychological standpoint on Mac Jones.
Yeah,
like I do believe it. Just looking at his stats, buddy.
How he lost his confidence.
How many times do you think he's been sacked in the last 3 years? Now, mind you, he hasn't played a full season the last 2 years. He missed 2 games the year before, and he missed 6 games this year.
I know its sack rate went like way up in the last 2 years compared
to
his first year. No, he's been sacked a lot.
His first, he's been sacked a lot the whole 3 years. But take a guess, in 3 years, how many sacks?
How many sacks? I'd say
that's just sacks, let alone QB hits. By the way,
I'd say 52. Just be throw it out there. 52 more. 82.
Very close. 84.
Oh wow. That's a lot of, and that's not counting QB rushes or QB hits, or like the guy like Crosby after play would get up and punch in the nuts. Or you know those jerk moves that like they'll pinch your leg on the ground. I used to do that to guys, pinch the back of their legs. Oh my god, assholes on the field. Not including all that torture that you go through as an NFL quarterback playing with a bunch of little boys in big men's bodies. But just getting absolutely obliviated in the backfield.
84 times he was sacked in the NFL. That's 28 sacks a year. That's just sacks. Like you said, we're not counting quarterback hits. We're not talking about rushes. We're not, little shivers that you get, like little forearm shivers that a guy like Max
1 to 2 per game. 1 to 2 per game. That's on average, almost 2 per game. That's a lot for a little guy to get hammered by a big dude like me. Just like, that hurts after a while. Pads are not.
That's so much. And it throws off your timing. Like, you can't sit back in that pocket comfortably ever, dude. Like, there's no way around that. Like,
people like verbalize. Well, they'll they taunt you. You taunt the hell out of kids playing ball. And you get in their heads and stuff. It's just,
Mac gets traded away for, I think it was a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
Whatever. That was a move. Get him out. Get him somewhere that he wants to go. He goes home. He lives close to Jacksonville. I think the Pats did right by him. Now he gets to play under Doug Peterson, learn a year. You know what I mean? He's not going to play.
Right. Maybe
like Trevor Lawrence is playing. Yeah,
right.
But he can learn stuff from the quarterback whisperer, Doug Peterson.
There's like 4 quarterbacks in that system right now, right? I think I saw that the other day.
Is there?
They have quite a few. They have quite a few people on the QB roster.
But they never had a backup that they could actually throw in there and be all right with.
Yeah, maybe
I think Mac Jones is a guy that if you have him as a backup, like no matter what, when you lose your starting quarterback, not good, right? I think we all agree, not great, not the scenario you want.
True.
But to have Mac Jones as a backup quarterback, if he knows your system and like you can get him comfortable to fill in for a game or so, like you're not hating that.
If you could rebuild that confidence, he could be right. a moderate quarterback. He could run the system. He could run the plays. He's not the superstar, but that you guys hope that he would be. But he's not a replacement for Tom Brady. But
so that's the problem. A lot of fans around here, as soon as they saw him, immediately Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And it's like they rushed Cam Newton out of here, which wasn't fair. And dude,
Cam Newton had a Christmas tree sticking on the top of his head.
I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck about his hair.
He was an MVP in 2014. He was
the guy could play.
He was okay. He was about what Mac is. He can manage the game.
He's a lot better than like a
he
guy
made
like
a lot of mistakes too.
No, he didn't though. Not when he was here. A lot of those, if you watch, right? I watched all those games. That first of all, COVID year, right?
No, right. COVID year.
So he signed late. I remember him like he signed late. No training camp, right? You couldn't work out. You couldn't even be in the building with your team at that point. So he's fighting an uphill battle to learn a Josh McDaniels offense in a COVID year. Now he can't work out with his teammates, right? You can't get the timing down. Can't do anything like that. They still went 7-9 that year, and he was a few plays away. Fumbled on the 1-yard line in Buffalo. Jordan Poyer made a hell of a tackle, stripped the ball out, cost them the game. But they were one play away from that, and the defense let him out a couple times. Cam, I don't think Cam the last few years, while he didn't play what we're used to seeing Cam Newton play, I also don't think he had a chance to do it. He signed late all 3 times. He signed late with the Pats, then he signed late in the season. He got released from the Pats. Right. Then he signed, I think, Carolina, right? Did he go back?
Yeah, he had a good first game. Yeah. He came into the city like Jesus Christ superstar, and then
just running
he came back
raw
in the game, and then he just like hit the ground, and it was.
But that team sucks
terrible.
Too.
Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, another terrible organization.
Yeah. Anyway, I think he got the raw deal. Then Matt came in, and it looks like Matt got the raw deal of this. No offensive line, no weapons. They trade him away for a bag lunch, pretty much.
Yeah,
that was just get him out of here. We're going to take a kid. That's a pretty good sign that the Patriots are taking a quarterback in this draft.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so for sure.
Like there's
Justin Fields is gone now. So there's no how many quarterbacks are left in the free agency? There's not a ton.
There's nobody that you're gonna want to start.
Right? Why would you not?
Jimmy G. There's Jimmy G out there. There's guys like that.
They took Brissett. Brissett again. He can manage the game.
I like Brissett.
He did kind of well before, but
I like Brissett. I like Brissett coming back to the Pats. I also like Brissett for this team because he knows the offense because he played in Cleveland with this guy.
Oh no shit, huh? Oh wow.
So while you draft a kid, you let the kid sit. You know what I mean? You don't just throw him into a dumpster fire, which is surely going to be the Patriots this year. They don't have an offensive line. We don't have any weapons. Like we have Kendrick Bourne coming back from a torn ACL, which is going to be tough, or an Achilles, whatever he had. They have 2 decent tight ends. They have Gesicki, who I like. I think he's been.
I do like Gesicki. No, they didn't. They got rid of Gesicki, didn't they? I saw he went somewhere else. I think. I swear to God. No, Gesicki didn't leave
unless they.
Oh no, yeah. I think
no, they kept him.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure
keep
they
talking.
could.
I'll Google it really quick, and
Yeah.
I'll break
And
your
then they
heart really
got
quick.
who else was it? The other tight end.
Mike Gesicki. Yeah. Man. Yeah, no, he signed
Oh
on
yeah,
with
he
the
signed with the Bengals.
Cincinnati
Oh, whatever.
Bengals.
So the
He's with
Patriots
the
signed
Bungles.
Hunter. They re-signed Hunter Henry. So whatever.
Hunter Henry, yes, they did. Yeah.
Same thing. Same
Yeah.
exact.
We took
They
John
look the
Smith.
same. They
Like whatever.
play the same. Like same thing.
Yeah.
They're not going to throw the ball to them anyway, so it doesn't matter. They suck.
Right.
They suck.
Right.
The Patriots. The only thing I don't want is Drake May, and that's exactly what I'm getting in the draft as a Pats fan, and it's disgusting. But anyway, we'll talk. Let's get back to the Steelers. We got really off track.
Steelers, yeah, Steelers.
The Patriots are going to suck. They're going to be 2-15. Like we're in for
another good year for
rough
drafts,
year,
dude. Another good draft pick here.
Yeah. I was promised they were going to spend money this offseason, and
they didn't. They didn't spend anything. They didn't do anything, did they? They did.
They've re-signed a bunch of guys.
They got rid of Devontae Parker, right? Or did they?
Yeah,
no,
which is great. Which is
Yeah.
great. No, they got rid of him.
They did get rid of him. He was terrible, dude. He wasn't all that great in Miami towards the end.
Can't stay healthy.
No, exactly. His bum knee.
And he doesn't get separation. He's not fast. Like he's faster than me. He's a lot faster than me.
Right. Well, yeah, but like, I don't know, he's not. He's getting older. Injury
he
prone now. Yep. He's lost a bunch of steps for sure.
Yeah,
he used to be decent.
Jump ball, but that's about it. Yeah, but he was never a burner. He could never get open. He was always contested footballs was the name of his game.
Right, 2 or 3 guy.
But yeah, they got rid of him, and they have Juju, which hopefully he can stay healthy and they keep him. That kid Pop Douglas, who actually really good. I really like him. He was a 6th-round pick. They don't have a number 1, so I mean it's going to be an uphill battle from day one.
I did like what was his name? The guy that they traded to Oakland last year, Jacoby Myers. I thought he was a great receiver. I don't know why they didn't bring him back. But no.
Yeah, he dropped a lot of footballs.
Yeah,
and he made one of the dumbest plays I've ever seen when he fucking threw the ball back to Mac Jones at the end of the Raiders game, caused them to lose.
Oh yeah, that was horrifying. That was, I mean, from my end, that was great, dude. I have like enjoyed watching the crumble of the New England Patriots in the last few seasons, just because all those years where I was absolutely tortured by people like yourself, for being a Dolphins fan, and the Patriots were winning, and it was just nauseating year after year. Coming back, dude, that Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. I know we're digressing from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dude, they were down like what? They were down like 20-3. I was at my best friend's house, my best friend Jeff Ahern, Lieutenant Colonel in the Royal National Guard.
Late in the third quarter, too.
And he was miserable. My wife was there. She was miserable. I was thrilled. I'm like, oh, this is great. They're going to fucking lose those scumbag cheap Patriots. And they came back. Tom effing Brady. I hated the man when he played.
I locked my cousin. I locked my cousin out of the house because
shit like that, dude.
When they went down, he took off his Brady jersey and said they suck, threw the jersey down and walked outside. So when they started coming back, I picked the jersey up, folded it, and then locked the doors.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we can't have you jinxing it. You know what I mean? They started coming back when you left. Now you have to stay outside.
Leave.
Right.
The Boston curse for sure. But yeah, oh my God, dude. How, like, just watching them come back and win that game, it gave me fiery diarrhea for several days. It's just like, and then I had to hear about it for years. Like, you go to my friend's house, I'd be there in like July. Full like burgers on the grill, sitting there having a few beers, and he's like, "Hey, dude, you want to see something cool?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Watch this." He pulls out his phone, and it's the freaking Super Bowl highlights. He's like, "Remember when this happened? Remember when we won the Super Bowl? When we came back with." Dude, or remember, or the other one was with Marshall, with the Butler intercepted in the end zone against Seattle, dude.
Those aren't even the best Super
Bowls.
Oh, those aren't even the best ones that we had.
Oh, that was like so horrible. Like
one of the best Super Bowls
we ever that first year, but
one of the best Super Bowls we ever played in was one of the ones that we lost against the Eagles.
Yeah, that was a good game.
That was one of the most entertaining games I've ever seen. There was no defense being played.
Yeah, that was a good game.
So anybody that tries to tell me that Matt Patricia is a good defensive coordinator, and they would have said that Malcolm Butler would have made a difference, they let up 40-something points that game. Shut the fuck up.
That's the way the
not good.
dynasty. From what I understand, the dynasty went this year. This last week was the blaming of Belichick for
I'm gonna watch it.
benching.
I'm gonna watch
Yeah,
it.
I want to get it on. I want to. Anybody who's an Apple subscriber, please send me the link for the Dynasty. I have a friend who sends me by the way, sends me the master kind of off topic, but Masters of the Year. Great show. Definitely check that out. Virgil says that American football is just rugby for girlies.
Shut up, Virgil.
We'll have some friggin' tea, guy.
Anyway, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, they signed Russell Wilson for a bag of peanuts. They trade for Justin Fields for a bucket of balls.
Yeah.
You'd think that eventually they're going to want Justin Fields to start. Right? Like the whole plan would be he's coming up. You're going to have to pick up that 5th-year option, I'm assuming.
He's on his 5th year right now, right? So
Fourth.
Oh, so yeah, he's got plenty of play in him. He just needs the right.
Same draft class as Mac Jones. There's only one quarterback left on their original team, Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, wow.
Everybody else, Trey Lance.
Yep.
Right? Because Trey was the next one. And then it was Justin Fields, Mac Jones. That wasn't the 2-year, was it? I don't think that was the 2-year.
No, 2 was the year before.
No, the year before because Mac filled in for Tua. That's right. Yeah. Anyway, so how do you feel about and the Steelers got that linebacker from Baltimore? Was it Patrick Queen?
Yeah, dude. They grabbed Queen. Queen, I was really impressed by him when I went to Baltimore. He just shoved his foot over my Dolphins' ass. Yeah. He is all over the place. He's super talented. He's fast. He can jump. He's not huge, but he can definitely move. I saw his name on the free agency list, knowing that we grabbed Baltimore's D coordinator. I would loved Queen as a Dolphin.
I thought that's where he was going, to be honest.
They didn't make that push, unfortunately. It breaks my heart a little bit. But
he's a Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, for sure. He's
he makes sense, dude.
Yeah,
but
Baltimore. I mean, Joey Porter Jr. Right, he'll be next to Joey Porter Jr. And that'll be a vicious.
I think Pittsburgh's got a really good setup for Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. You know what I mean? Yeah. If Russell Wilson plays all right, then you keep him in there. But if he starts to struggle, you have Justin Fields out there. You can throw him.
They got a decent run game. They got not N'Keal Harry. No,
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. Oh, I'm sorry. That was awful.
They have Najee Harris, and then they have I forget the other kid's name that they have. But they also have Pickens, who's a monster.
Yeah, right.
Their tight end Firemouth.
Yep.
Is that his name?
Yep. Sure.
Nasty. They have a good offensive line. I mean, they were a quarterback away from being a playoff team this year.
Right. They almost squeaked in, right? Did they squeak in?
Nope.
They almost did.
No, but
they were shaky throughout the season, and then they pulled it together at the end. And
Mason Rudolph was starting games for them. Yeah. In winning. Yeah. Which is I think they're going to deal him away too. He'll go for another 6th-round pick or whatever it is. The market has been anyway. So let's talk about the team that traded Justin Fields, the Bears.
Oh, trash organization, dude. They've been trashed for. Good players go there, and I don't know. They make plays like Komet is decent for fantasy value, but I mean, they don't seem to. I don't know. They kind of just suck, dude. I think they're just trash from the top to the bottom, and that's what happened with Justin Fields. I think he's gonna shine in Pittsburgh. I think maybe he'll do something, you know.
So
I think he's a good player. I don't know.
As you were talking, I was just looking at what the Bears did this offseason because they are going to end up with
a lot. Yeah,
one of my man crushes, Caleb Williams, who I think, honestly,
I don't think
dude. Okay,
I'm not. I saw him play a few times this past year. I was not really impressed. How is this guy the golden boy for ESPN this year? He's not
because he's nasty.
Okay,
dude, I've watched
some good games, but
not good games, dude. He's just good years. He puts together USC. I watch a lot of USC. I like USC. They're my West Coast team. They're a Pac-10 team. I like to watch them at 10 o'clock at night. It's a great way to end my Saturday nights. But Caleb Williams is that guy, man. Yeah. That defense was awful, right?
All right.
USC could not play defense. I don't think that's a secret. they wasted.
They were ranked, right?
Caleb's-
They were on the AP poll. They were what, like
they were
11
up
or
and down
12?
all year. Yeah, they lost I think 4 games though. Their defense couldn't stop them. A couple of years ago, they had a top 5 ranked team, but they couldn't.
Yeah, right.
They got into a shootout, and it was like 55 to 40 something. And Caleb Williams got blamed for that loss when his defense didn't make one. They didn't force a punt all game, all game. And not to mention this year, not the best year for weapons for Caleb. The year before, he had Jordan Addison.
We'll see, I
but
guess.
he hasn't had like a Marvin Harrison Jr. or he hasn't had guys like that.
Smart especially when he's like under pressure. So I mean that will mean a lot in the NFL, I think. But again, it doesn't transition. They don't transition as well from college as they used to, maybe. And I don't know. I don't know if he's learned. I don't know.
So anyway, I think he's gonna be a stud. He's one of those hot topic items that we could debate back and forth.
Yeah,
but we're not gonna know until they get on the field.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Until they actually do it.
So
I've had less faith in rookie quarterbacks in the last 10 seasons than I think I ever have. I think all the stocks and wide receivers nowadays are like really good defenses, or offensive lines for that matter. But I mean, the quarterback I think is interchangeable.
But at the end, I don't think At the end of the day, you need a superstar quarterback.
Well, that's
no way around it. You need to hit on one of these. You just need to hit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And as nice of a story as it is for the kid from San Francisco,
Brock Purdy,
he wasn't the reason they lost in the Super Bowl, but he was one of the reasons they didn't win.
Right.
If he could have made a couple more plays or whatever, I think you need a game changer. I think Caleb Williams could be that guy.
Yeah.
But they've done a good job for the first time ever. It looks like the Bears are actually trying to turn things around here. They weren't.
Yeah, they did really well. They weren't
your typical first overall pick anyway, because they were 7-10 or something like that.
Yeah.
They won a decent amount of games. They just
they had the somebody pick. Else, right?
Yeah, Carolina.
Yeah, right.
Carolina's the worst team in the league, and they don't get any better because they traded their first overall pick away. Wouldn't it be nice to get Bryce Young, Marvin Harrison Jr.? Instead, you drop the ball.
Yeah, completely.
But the Bears go out. They signed DeAndre Swift. We talked about that last week.
Yeah,
to pair up with Khalil Herbert, which is great. You know what I mean? I love that pick. And they signed Travis Homer, who I like a lot. DJ Moore, we already know he's been on the team. Great number 2. He is a great number 2. He is not a number 1, despite what he'd like to say about himself.
Yep.
But they went out and got a number 1 in Keenan Allen.
Yeah, he's a hell of a receiver.
Dude, big physical wide receiver that just catches everything thrown his way.
Yeah, San Diego, they cut them both. They cut him and Williams, right? Where did Mike Williams go?
Nowhere yet. Oh, actually, no, I apologize. We're going to get to it. He signed with the Jets.
Oh, diarrhea again. Diarrhea. I hate the Jets.
Makes me happy. I used to hate the Jets. I used to. I can't hate them anymore. And they still have Cole Kmet and Gerald, and they signed Gerald Everett from the Chargers. The Chargers are just emptying house. They also signed a couple guys to fix their offensive line, and that's huge because obviously Justin Fields didn't have any time; he couldn't do anything. But I think they're actually trying to make this work for Caleb. Which why don't more teams do this?
Build weapons. If you're going to start this kid, make sure he's prepared going in. He has every option possible, so he doesn't A, get hurt, or B, throw interceptions.
Right.
But we'll see. Time will tell. Again, I don't have a lot of faith in the Chicago organization, although they beefed up quite a bit this offseason. So we'll see.
They did, they beefed up a lot, which was good to see. I think a lot of the stuff with Caleb is like how he's been covered.
Yeah.
I think the media hasn't exactly been, while they tote that he's got all the talent to be a number 1, I feel like they've thrown a lot of shade his way too.
Yeah.
They've gone after him. And I think that puts a lot of bad taste
He's
in
in the
people's mouth.
spotlight. He's the top dog. So they want to kick him down. I want to kick him down. I don't have any faith, but we'll see what happens. I guess.
Everybody loves to see somebody fall from the top.
Right. That is a fact. Being a non-Patriot fan for my entirety of my life, I am definitely the guy to say that. I love to see them fall.
Which is disgusting. But let's. So I think they take Caleb. There's talk that they don't take Caleb, and that they take Marvin Harrison Jr. and then take somebody else at 9 with their pick.
Yep.
If that happens, that opens all sorts of doors in the top 5. Like,
yeah,
all sorts of doors for the Pats to trade up, to trade out, to take another guy. Like, because I want Daniels, I don't want Drake May. The only way that happens is if one of those guys screws up and takes Drake May. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're stuck. Drake May. I don't. I just don't know.
Is it McCarthy? Is it JJ McCarthy that your boy Bill liked? That my boy Bill liked?
Belichick liked Daniels.
Oh, all right, yeah.
He was a big Daniels guy, I guess. Last year they were going over it the other day. He was like very big on Daniels coming out of LSU, and he won the fucking Heisman. You know what I mean? Like, so obviously a good ball player. But again, you don't know what happens. These guys can come in and Johnny Manziel, like, there's a bunch of guys that have come in the NFL and just failed. And I think it's more situations than it is organizations. Okay. I truly believe that if you put a guy in the right situation.
All right. While they're doing they're doing okay. They're more middle of the road now. The Cleveland Browns, if you went to Cleveland, your career was just essentially you weren't going to do anything. You weren't going to win any championships. It seemed like when Belichick got rid of he got rid of what, Jamie Collins, and he traded him to the Cleveland Browns because he was mad at him. I don't see organizations like this in the Bears or maybe even the Titans just never do anything at all.
Jamie Collins,
my Dolphins, but
Jamie Collins thought he was hot shit, demanded that he gets a raise, and he's worth all this money. And Bill goes, "Okay, I'll see you later." And then
you're going to Cleveland, brother. Pack your bags, have fun. Oh, get on the bus.
We got you economy plus, so you'll be comfortable.
Yeah, so you have room to stretch your legs after you crawl down that aisle and shit in the back of that bus.
And then he got paid. He got paid and got cut. Came back for pennies on a dollar.
Yeah,
dude.
All part of Belichick's plan. All part of the plan.
It's hilarious to me. But the Jets, the New York Jets, who is my adopted team for one reason and one reason.
Oh my God. The New Jersey Jets. They have not played in New York in over 50 years. They are New Jerseyans. They are no longer New Yorkers. Go ahead, continue. Same thing with the friggin' Giants. They're from New Jersey.
Anyway, the New York Jets, right? The New York Football Jets, killing it in free agency this year.
All right. Well, they killed it last year. And what happened last year, dude?
No, they didn't, though. They made one acquisition last year.
Didn't they bring in one people?
But what was the talk? What was the talk last year when they brought Aaron in?
That
they had no offensive line.
Yeah, all right.
They had no offensive line. They don't know if they're going to be able to protect him. If you watch Hard Knocks before the year, that's all they talked about was that.
I hate the Jets, so I didn't watch Hard Knocks.
Oh, dude, it was actually. I think Robert Saleh is a joke. Like he's absolute fucking garbage. Dude.
The bald guy, the coach now.
Yeah, he was the Niners defensive coordinator, I believe. That's how he got that job. Awful, dude. Anyway, and you see it. He looks like a fucking idiot. But the big thing was no offensive line. What happens 4 plays into the fucking season? Aaron Rodgers gets rolled up on. Actually, he doesn't even get rolled up on, dude. Just a freak injury. That's rude. I don't wish injury on anybody, dude.
No, and the same thing happened. It was Chubb that got hurt in New Jersey, I think, and in the Meadowlands or not the Meadowlands, or whatever they call it now.
You never want to see somebody hurt, though.
It's that turf. It's that field. They have to
change it.
They have to change it. They're killing people here. Chubb. They look at it. Chubb's not going to be back till like the middle of the season. Come on, you're killing me, guy. The guy was on
Who was that other kid that they had the pass?
I think. Not.
You know who I'm talking about?
He was a linebacker. Yeah.
Young kid, fast.
Yeah, they drafted him a few years ago.
Yeah, whatever. He tore his Achilles too. He knew it right off the bat.
Yeah.
It was one of those injuries this year that seemed like there was more this year than anything else. It doesn't matter, buddy. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's gonna drive me nuts. I'm gonna think about it at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna wake up and scream his name, and like people are gonna be like, "What?
Where's number 11?" I know that.
Yeah. He's like a low number guy.
Yeah, he's a number 11 pass rusher. He was having like a decent year too. I think it was the best year of his career.
Yeah, he was doing really. Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips.
Oh,
yeah, he was playing really well. I was upset when he went down.
But so the offensive line, big questions. And actually, if they actually had any weapons, because they signed Mecole Hardman, didn't work out. And they have Garrett Wilson. That's the only weapon they had in Breece Hall in the backfield, which they didn't even use until like week 11 for some reason.
Yep.
But
yeah,
they go out. They sign Tyron Smith from the Cowboys. What a pickup!
Oh yeah,
to shore up that blind side. Holy shit, dude!
Cowboys.
I'm trying to look at who else they signed for the offensive line. So they signed Smith. They signed John Simpson, who's a left guard, which also helps Aaron with his blind side. Then they signed Morgan Moses, who I had to look it up because when they first signed him, I'm like, I thought he was still on the Jets. But I guess, they traded him away to Baltimore when they thought he wasn't going to be anything. So they trade away an offensive tackle because he's not growing. He gets put into Baltimore. Fucking dude becomes one of the better right tackles in the league, and then they have to trade back for him.
Right.
The most New York Jets thing in the world. That was fucking it. So you signed 3 out of the 5. They have a starting center. I forget who it is, but he's pretty good. In the right guard position, I think he was decent this year. But they fixed 3 out of the 5 starters, which hopefully you protect Aaron Rodgers. You get to see the best of him. I want to see all these teams, especially with all these acquisitions, dude. I want to see the best. I want to see the best of these teams.
Right, I just want
unless you're Josh Allen.
Just lose to my Dolphins. That's all I ask.
They're gonna
my Dolphins. We're getting towards
they signed Mike Williams too this year.
Oh yeah, well that he's a good addition. He's fast, so fast.
Has the Dolphins signed anybody this year? Have they signed anybody this week? No.
Yeah, they did. Who did they sign?
Couldn't be that good.
They picked up a linebacker. They picked up a few linebackers. They picked up a cornerback, safety,
which is a big thing for them.
The kid from Buffalo, Poyer.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot they signed Jordan Poyer. That's right.
Right.
That's a big.
So we get some. They had some beef. They took Berrios back, which I like that a little bit. Braxton Berrios. He's a good kickoff guy.
Oh, they did sign him back.
Yeah, 00. My dog wears his jersey.
All right.
Yeah, we got rid of Wilkins. Obviously, that was going to happen. He saved us.
No matter what happens this offseason, it's still the Chiefs' playground.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Chubb restructured his contract.
Last 2 years, they've won 3 out of 4, dude. They're the most dominant team since the Patriots. And if they win 3 in a row,
they're gonna
never been done in the NFL.
The Miami Dolphins are going to win the whole thing. I'm calling it right now. The Miami Dolphins are going to win the Super Bowl this year. I'm just saying it.
What do you think
you heard it first with Buddy Thea. You heard it with the ghost.
Buddy, you're out of your mind. There's no way you actually believe that. I don't even know what their odds are to win the division, but I'm
spitting dimes out of my asshole right now, dude. Yeah,
dude, it's not great considering the same division as the Bills, who I think are going to fail miserably this year.
Yeah,
and the Jets, who I think are actually going to make a lot of fucking noise. We're going to make a little friendly wager on this, by the way.
The goddamn Jets always.
So the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills favored to win, plus 135. The Miami Dolphins, plus 210, second place. Then you get the New York Football Jets, 235. So they're right on the heels of the Dolphins. I'm going to go ahead and take the fucking Jets on this one. I'm going to hammer that one soon.
Rutherford, New Jersey is where they've been. Rutherford,
New Jersey. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. New England isn't a fucking town, and they just play in Foxborough.
It's a region
that Foxborough Patriots.
They play in the region of New England.
In New York and New Jersey, same thing. They represent.
They're 2 separate states. Just saying.
Barely. That's like Mass and Rhode Island. They're the same fucking thing. They're just. Yeah, they are. They're just separated by a border. That's it. Are you ready for the Patriots? If you want to make some money, plus 2,500 maybe.
Yeah. throw like $10 on the Pats to win the Super Bowl.
I wouldn't throw away $10 as a meal.
Yeah, that's a mean $10 you're gonna lose. For sure.
I
You're gonna lose that before the season starts. It's gonna be done with. Brendan, I could talk about football and how awful the Patriots are gonna be, and how awful I hope the New Jersey Jets are, and the New Jersey Giants as well are for another hour and a half. But we are just past the 2-hour mark. But you kind of wean it down here, wean it off. So, is there anything else that you would like to throw out there for our group, for our listeners?
Just keep your eyes peeled. I was hoping that he was going to join us today, but Joe Britlin and myself are going to be reviving our old wrestling podcast.
Ooh,
yeah. So that's going to be coming soon. We are going to never.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing that on Fridays. That's going to be our time slot that we haven't decided yet. We still have a couple things to work out, but we will be dropping that soon. That was always fun. Well, hello, fake profile. But yeah, Twitch. So we're going to be reviving the wrestling podcast, which was always fun for me. It's a nice passion project. Right. Joe and I love wrestling. It's always good to
Joe will talk wrestling until he's blue in the face. It's
which is what I'm looking forward to. It'll give us a nice avenue to talk wrestling. And we had a really good show the last time, so I am very excited to announce that is something that is 1,000% going to happen. And just keep your eyes peeled onto the Facebook, the Instagram. We will be dropping the news. My guess would be sometime this week. I will have more information on it. We're just, like I said, working out the schedule. And that's going to be what we're narrowing down right now is the time slot to what we're going to do. But it's going to be on Friday nights. It'll be a lot of fun to do.
Nice. That's a good night to do things on. It's a Friday night. Yeah. Coming soon to a podcast near you, probably next month. We're going to do 1 month, one show a month, just because if I do one show a week, I'm going to turn into an alcoholic by the end of May. We are doing 3 Dudes Brews. It will be 3 of us, myself, Costas Sangaruli, say that name 3 times fast, and Ed, just Ed. We'll be going to different breweries throughout New England. We'll be hanging out at Costas' house and making some mead that he makes with some beers and some ales. Really good, delicious stuff. It's about the taste. It's about the palate. It's about the passion. We're talking to brewers. We'll be talking how they got started, how they what they do now for brewing, what their plans are for the future. I had a peanut butter and jelly beer last year. It's made by Vigilant. It's one of the spots we're going to. This thing tasted just like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What is next for the flavors of beer? It just blows my mind how close you can come to making a liquidy, delicious drink taste like a delicious food. So tune in.
That's how I feel about coffees too.
Right. Oh, coffee's amazing, dude. If I could do a show just about coffee and then me going to the bathroom afterwards, that'd be a great show. But anyway,
so you and I will talk about it. Not so much the second half of it.
Not so much the second half, but the drinking, the smelling it.
I want to do something like I want to do something like Dave Portnoy does the pizza thing.
Oh, I like pizza too. Oh
I'd like for you. Well, he's got
I'm
that.
A fat kid. I could do pizza.
No, he's got He's got that market cornered. I don't want to copy.
Yeah, we don't want to.
But you and I could start talking about doing the coffee one that I have planned in my head.
Coffee's fun. I like coffee. It's delicious.
We could do a couple.
I'm a Starbucks. I'm a Starbucks hua personally, but I hate Dunkin' Donuts. I think it's trash.
They're both trash. They're the same thing.
That's right. So stay tuned for all these great new podcasts coming your way from all different crafts, from coffee to beer to wrestling to men in tights to men in football tights to men in whatever, to ghost people and everything in between. Next week, tune in live Tuesday at probably like 8:10 by the time Brendan gets on the network. And
today was not my fault. Today was not my fault.
Last week. And
last week wasn't either. It just wasn't logging me in. But this week it said it right on the screen that this is not your fault.
This is not your fault. But next week it might not be. So we'll hope we get on live at like 8:00 whatever.
Yeah.
Chris Baldano, he's an author. We talked about the Bridgewater Triangle this evening. He's done many books on the Bridgewater Triangle, investigations of the Bridgewater Triangle. He now makes his home in sunny Florida, home of my Miami Dolphins. He does investigations down there. He does books down there. He's a really great guy. Really, he'll talk about like pudwudgies and like Hockmark Swamp and aliens and the aliens in the dollar bill, man, for ages. So tune in next week. We'll have Chris Balzano for Brendan the Goat Bams. I'm Buddy Thayer, the Ghost Guy, the Ghost. And we're out of here.